All right, welcome. It is Ad Talk, episode 10. We got a good one for you guys today. I'm obviously your co-host, Dakota, and I'm here with none other than Caleb Cruz and Matthew Gosling. What's up, guys?
Yo. Very hyped.
Very hyped, dude.
Yeah,
very hyped.
Very hyped for this episode. Yeah, so like there's so many cool things that we are going to talk about today. Shout out Matthew, man. You like really kind of collected a lot of really interesting things for us to dive into. So yeah, I'm pumped. I know we're talking like AR. We're talking Elon Musk fights Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, like it's gonna be an interesting show.
Who knows what's gonna happen?
So
I can't wait. So if you guys haven't been sticking around, this is episode 10, but this is the second in our series of basically State of the Union. What's going on with advertising today? So we're really going to be going through some current events as they pertain to advertising. Sometimes maybe they don't pertain to advertising, but we just want to talk about them anyways. So that's kind of the format for today's show. So bear with us as we skip around a little bit and try to keep you informed on really what's going on in the wide world of the internet and advertising. Yeah. Matthew, anything you want to add before we jump right into it?
I don't think so. I feel like even if it's not directly related to advertising, there'll be enough touch points where we can like tie it back. But
some tangentials,
but let's not start with the Elon versus Zuck. But
oh, come on! I was just about to.
Let's start with
Elon versus Celebrity Deathmatch, dude.
So I
remember that show. Tell me you guys have seen that show. No? Neither of you? Celebrity Deathmatch. Okay. I already know Matthew's going to go Google it.
All right, I want a good, clean fight. I want a comfortable pair of shoes. And I want a nice ham sandwich. Not too fatty. You got that?
What?
Somebody out there, I'm sure, has remembered Celebrity Deathmatch. I think that's the name of it. Tell me once you look it up, Matthew. Right. It's been a minute. Okay, this was on, it had to be Adult Swim, I'm assuming. It was on like one of those like, you're not supposed to watch this if you're, not 18. Yeah. Like Nick at Night, but worse.
Way worse.
I don't know if it was that or if it was like Fox. It might have been like a major network. MTV. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. So Celebrity Deathmatch was like claymation, right? And they would like literally do two celebrities who are like popular in pop culture, and they'd put them in a boxing match, claymation style, and it would be the most like vulgar, insane, like bloody clay death match. Literally, like they'd bring out like chainsaws and cut each other in half, and like stuff like that. But it would always be like two celebrities that obviously would never actually fight in a death match,
right? Yeah.
And now we're talking fast forward to 2023, and we're actually talking about like one of the main things that celebrities do now. Like, was it Logan Paul or Jake Paul? I'm bad at the Paul brothers. It's one of the two. Mm-hmm. They're like fighters now. They're like boxers now, right? Mm-hmm. It's like fast forward to today. Now we have two tech billionaires talking about fighting each other for some reason. Like, yes. What is going on?
So for anyone that's out of the loop right now, that's been maybe kind of living under a rock, I guess, is Elon Musk, obviously super famous individual, is potentially, they say that it's real, is going to fight in a cage match with Mark Zuckerberg, the owner of Meta, Facebook, Instagram, all that fun stuff. So
and let me rewind, because why is the relevant question.
That's what I was going to say is I don't even know this. Like
I'll tell you the story. It's even funnier once you hear the story. So ad related news here, right? So Matthew, this is tangential.
Thank you.
This is ad related, guys. Mark Zuckerberg is creating a Twitter competitor. Okay.
Okay. This makes sense now.
It's like a Project X. I don't know. They have some code name for it, right? This Twitter competitor is going to be your Instagram followers, right? So like if you already have a following on Instagram, you're going to hop over to the Twitter competitor made by Instagram, and you already have all of those followers, except for now it's basically functionality of Twitter. So text focused, conversational, current events, stream of consciousness type stuff, but run by Meta with your existing Instagram following, right? That's the product. So I guess this wasn't supposed to be released yet, right? But it got leaked from an internal meeting at Meta. And one of the key features that they're touting is that it will be, quote, run in a sane way, unquote, right? So of course, that being a key feature and it being not a real release, of course, come on, they're stirring up a little drama here. And Elon sees this and goes, like, Zuck you or something. I don't know, something stupid like that. And from there, I think what happens is Zuckerberg screenshots this. And Mark Zuckerberg, if you've been following, tech billionaires for some time, you probably know that he's a pretty quiet guy, pretty like not socially out there. Like he's just like,
the only thing I ever see is like he either posts about like him wearing some AR VR headset, him with his kids, or him doing jujitsu. That's literally like the only
like
stuff.
Surfing or something, like, climbing Mount Everest or whatever like billionaires do in their free time. So, but Zuckerberg's a quiet guy. He's not like out there trying to make news. He's not trying, he wants to be out of the news, right? Usually. But he screenshots Elon's reply and he throws it on his story, his Facebook, Instagram story. And he goes, what he screenshots is Elon saying like, I'd love to fight, could be in a cage match or whatever. Like, somebody brought it up and he's like, yeah, I'd love to do that if he's down. And Zuckerberg screenshots that, throws it on his story and says, send me the location, which send me location is basically like a UFC thing. If you follow UFC, I'm not huge into it, but I know that the roots of that go back to like a UFC fighter basically said, send me location. Like, where do you want to fight? Let's do it now. Right? Yeah. And so that was Zuck's reply. And since then, just pandemonium has broken out, right? Just crazy.
Yeah, it's honestly crazy. It really is. So in reality, it's kind of like it was Elon kind of the one that was like, I would do this kind of a thing. And then Zuck was kind of like, I'll accept the challenge.
But Elon saying I would do this, that's Elon. Like he's tweeting memes all day. Like he's literally, he is the king of just posting dumb stuff. Right. Yeah. So like, sure, he'll say that.
He knows how to get attention. That's one thing. Right. Yeah. That's one thing I think that like, like whether you're an Elon fan or not, like the dude knows how to like get people talking. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
so Zuckerberg saying yes, though, that's crazy, dude. And so then it's like, wait, this is actually is this real? They're actually going to fight? Okay. Fast forward a day or so, Dana White, the guy who runs UFC, goes online the next day and being like, I talked to both of them last night. They're both dead serious about this, and then we talk about the revenue that this could generate. Because just think about the revenue this could generate.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of millions. Like this would generate more than any fight has ever generated in the history of fighting. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what if Elon's like, yo,
I can't even picture it, man. I'm just like, this is so ridiculous.
What if Elon's like, yo, dude, Twitter is leaking advertisers right now. We don't have revenue. We're going into a hole. We need a savior. What if it's this fight, bro?
Yeah, there was a part of me that was like, this feels very industry plant, where it's like very in a lab grown commentary
drama.
Yeah, exactly. So like I'm looking at Tesla and Meta's like projected revenue streams, and they're going to be pretty tight by the end of like Q1 of 2025 because of like everything that's happening with Meta and the metaverse.
Not if they generate a cool Billy from a fight, dude.
Right, exactly. Seriously. So I'm feeling like, Elon's had a bit of a tough go of things, like not just since like taking over Twitter, but like, when he was like told to step down from the board at Tesla because of his 420 share thing and like that kind of stuff. And then, Zuckerberg has taken hits on Meta because of like their, ever since the Cambridge Analytica stuff and metaverse not catching on, they're both kind of on their heels, right? So wouldn't this make sense to like bring them both back into like the
relevancy?
Yeah, like the front page of the news sort of a thing.
Yeah, but not for what they're actually supposed to be doing. Right. Isn't that just so now where it's but think about like
who wins this, if it's in a convincing way, like, first of all, let it be known, I don't think it's not going to happen. In my opinion, like, I would put a lot of money on it not happening, and I'll tell you why in a second. But if it did happen, I think the winner of it is sort of like it, in some like weird way, they win like tech also. Like,
yeah,
I see that happening in our current reality, right? Like,
I get what you're saying,
but like, pop culture wise, they would go down as the person that won.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all, but I get where your head's at. Like the loser is going to lose the following in a way. You know what I mean? Like the fans won't be as like diehard fans of them anymore, which I feel like ultimately ends up hurting the company. You know,
which like nobody really is a Zuckerberg fan. I am a Zuckerberg fan personally, but like Elon is the one who has more to lose here, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Do you think like the loser has to undergo an SEC like audit or something?
Dude, show us your last tax statement.
Exactly.
Like, just big, like, yeah. Or dude, do you think like, you know, like they're just gonna send in like bodyguards to fight each other? Be like, who can find the biggest bodyguard? Like, let's be real. These guys have to like, there's got to be like insurance policies, things that like they're not allowed to fight, right? Like,
I don't know. Like, I feel like if Elon goes chest first, he's got pretty good odds. You know?
Yeah, so let's just talk about that for a second. Let's talk about the hypothetical scenario that they do fight. Okay, so like, so it's big tall Elon versus small.
Which reports say, how tall is he? Because reports vary, right?
Yeah,
we don't really know.
When we Googled it, I looked at like a few different websites, and it was like 6'1" kept coming up. So like in that ballpark of 6'1", and it says he's around 200 pounds. I don't think that that's right. Like there's like when I'm looking at photos of him, he's got to weigh more than 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Like
he looks like a big boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
whereas Mark Zuckerberg easily could looks like he could be like 160, 170 like all day long. You know,
he's short, right? Like, I mean, he's comparatively, shorter. He's like 5'8", maybe
5'7". Yeah.
Yeah. So he's if he's 160, he's a pretty fit 5'7".
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And then, you know, you bring in the fact that like he works out, he does like jujitsu and marathons and extreme sports and stuff, and like he trains fighting.
Yeah.
And then you see Elon, who like he was asked, do you work out recently, due to this news of the fight? He goes, the only time I work out is when I lift my kid into the air. And I'm like, okay. And then he's like, yeah, the one fight move I have, I call the walrus. I just lay on you. So he's playing into it, you know, like he knows that Zuckerberg would probably put up a really good fight, even with the size difference.
Yeah.
If my money is on Zuck, let me just say my money is completely on Zuck, because there's a difference between like being able to get hit and like bounce back. Like people who train to fight, they're used to like getting hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like Elon is like in his 50s. That's the other thing. Zuckerberg's in his 30s. Elon's in his 50s.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I didn't take age into consideration.
Yeah.
Wait, is Zuckerberg really in his 30s?
Yeah, dude.
No way.
Yeah. How old is he? Let me see. Zuckerberg age. He's 39.
Wow. Yeah, I would have guessed like he was in his 40s already. That's crazy.
So this actually just gives me Game of Thrones vibes. If you remember the spoiler alert, if you remember the episode The Mountain and the Viper.
Yeah, dude.
Wait, which one was that?
It's the dude from the Heartthrob this year. Everybody fell in love. Yeah, Pedro Pascal. He had to like take his thumbs, spoilers, and gouge out the mountain's eyes, right?
I can't remember this.
Oh yeah, it's pretty
brutal.
gruesome. But
I probably closed my eyes for it or something, knowing me.
No, it's pretty gnarly, but it's kind of like the same kind of thing where it's like this small, agile person against the dude with the barrel chest, basically.
Yeah, exactly. He's like lumbering over to you. It's David Goliath, dude. You know?
Yeah. No, honestly.
Yeah.
But okay. So I want to know though, like, does it come back to ads at all, right? Like, let's make the connection, because we have talked a little bit about the revenue share, right? Like Twitter's share price, Twitter's revenues, all that stuff hurting right now, right? So Instagram coming out with a competitor not only is coming at a time where it's like, this could be the dagger, like politically speaking, there's some weird stuff on Twitter right now. There's a lot, like Twitter has quickly become like a kind of a polemic place to be, right? I still use it. I think a lot of people still do, but I think if there was a competitor that popped up in a really timely way and you already had your following on it, there's, if they do it right, it could be the dagger. So I think there's more than meets the eye to this sort of like story, right? Where it's like, yeah, there's maybe a fight, which I think is hilarious, and what a great way for like 2023 to just continue being crazy, right? Like, come on, we're talking about like two tech giants who have in their own right done amazing things technology wise, and now we're gonna do the American thing, which is like distill them down to the very like worst thing we possibly can, just like two dudes fighting, like two gorillas, like it's almost like none of their achievements even matter, because like we want to see people fight, it's like, dude, what is this, Gladiator? Like, are we the Romans? I'm so confused.
Pretty much, yeah, dude, pretty much.
But that being said, like it could have implications in like more far-reaching than we even understand,
And also, like from the ad angle as well, I think it will happen. And just think about how much actual direct revenue they would rake in from, if who knows if HBO or whoever's gonna like do like box office tickets for it or something. Ad revenue will be like Super Bowl levels through the roof. It would be absolutely massive, and
it would be pay-per-view, is what they said. Dana White said it would be $100 pay-per-view.
Right, exactly. So $100? Are you kidding?
Yeah, $100.
Oh my!
Which is what they do for most of the fights. Somewhere around there.
That's insane,
but, dude. Twitter would win actually in terms of short-term gain, because like, where are you going to be talking about this fight? Twitter,
gonna be, like,
and Instagram still doesn't have a way to compete with that,
unless Zuckerberg like ramps up the release of Project 92 to meet this, and then it's like
that'd be cool,
like test case of how many interactions are there on Project 92 versus how many are on Twitter, and it kind of like another kind of like cage match is taking place online,
like which platform is gonna like that's actually really interesting.
Exactly.
That's actually a really interesting thought, Matthew. Wow.
Yeah. Well, either way, I think it was maybe the most fun story of the week, even if it was prefabricated in a lab, which, you got to know, like, here's the thing about all of these guys. Okay, they're worth hundreds of billions, right? Like Zuck is worth like 100 billion. Elon's worth like 200 and some billion. When you're at that level, you got to just have like a group text, right? Like these guys talk, right? Like are we, do they think we're that dumb? They have to be communicating. Like they're running the world. They're literally running the world that we live in.
Yeah.
And I feel like there had to be a text or something that's like, hey, wouldn't this be funny? Come on, Zuck, just do something fun for once, like screenshot, like, I don't know, man. It seems way too good to be true to me.
Yeah, no, I could see that, dude. I could see that being the case, like them having their little group text thread. Yeah, that'd be funny.
All right, well, we got a lot more fun stuff to talk about today, so we'll put a pin in the Zuckerberg Elon fight. But let's just cast our votes really quick before we do it. If it happens, I'm putting all my money on Zuckerberg. That's my vote.
Okay, Matthew, what's your vote? I want to know what your vote is before I vote.
Wow. Okay, so also I feel like this would be a really good opportunity for us to live stream us watching.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's got to happen. Yep.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
My money is on Zuckerberg as well.
Okay, I'm gonna be the odd one out. I'm doing it. I'm putting my bets on Elon. I think if they did it, he would use his size to just try to do some crazy move, and it would either totally flop and fail, literally flop, or maybe he just lands a sucker punch and Zuck is lights out, So I don't know. That's where I'll put my betting.
All right. We'll put that in the record log. We've cast our votes. Yeah. I'm going Zuckerberg. I'm Team Zuckerberg with literally everything. If
he's way more talented and skilled at fighting, like there's no question or doubt in my mind about that. Speaking of which, I feel like if he lost, it would.
Yes.
It would.
But I would buy Facebook car.
I feel like if he lost, it would be such a like subtle diss to the whole entire jiu-jitsu like community, because they would all just be like, "Come on, like you know, like you've won tournaments and you're gonna let this like dude who's making walrus jokes beat you," you know?
Yeah, true.
But anyways,
true. Yeah. All right. The next thing I want to talk about, this story is kind of cool, and I want to bring it up because this guy is polemic in his own right. Anyone you ever mention this guy's name to, you either love him or you hate him. All right. And I'm team love him. And so I'm curious to hear what team you guys are, but we're talking about Gary Vee.
Please recognize the world we're living in.
The world is abundant. If you're good enough, you can get yours too.
How do I feel motivated? I'm grateful. I'm gratitude. Somebody's always got it worse.
One life. Do something about it.
So Gary Vee is obviously like the world's viral marketer, right? Like he is obviously everywhere, right? If you've ever gotten into digital marketing, usually he's like the gateway drug to get into digital marketing. And then once you're in it, you're like, oh, okay, this guy's kind of crazy. Like, I don't really need to listen to him anymore, right? Like, at least that's kind of what it seems like. But for those who aren't in digital marketing, they see Gary Vee everywhere. They're probably like, wow, you know, I could do this. You know, I could make a living doing online stuff, whatever it is. But he's in the news today, at least, or this was actually last month, but we're talking about it today because he invested in a company that I think does something pretty cool with ad space. So what he does, or what he did was invest in a company that does fortune cookie ads. So the company, literally exactly what I just said is what they do. Fortune cookie ads, right? It's called Open Fortune. And basically their whole concept is that like when you're eating at like a Chinese restaurant or, you know, an Asian restaurant or whatever, and you get the fortune cookie at the end and you break it open and you read it, you feel in that moment, like there's something very personal for you. Right. Like yeah, obviously we all know that you just picked the cookie out of the thing or whatever, and it's not really for you, but like it feels in that moment like a very personal message for you. Right. And people stop what they're doing to read it. They talk about it at the table. It's a social thing. So this company is like, yeah, we love that. And so let's put an ad on that thing, right? Like, let's make like a brand message or whatever that still maybe feels personal, but like has some sort of like ad space on it because there's attention in that moment, which, you know, like making everything into an ad, obviously most people will hate that concept, but this is ad class. So, and we're doing ad talk. So let's talk about the pros of it. But he invested big time into it because he's like, basically, dude, this is genius. Like this is the next big forum, you know, and their whole thing is like, we want to disrupt Super Bowl ads because like of how big this thing will get. And it's like, okay. So let's talk about it. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, like I would need to, I guess, see the format, but like my initial thoughts are just like lame and kind of boring in my opinion. Like if I'm opening up a fortune cookie, like first off, I'm not super into like that anyways. Like I'll look at it just to like be like, haha, you know, but if I'm reading that, the last thing I'm going to do is read that. And then also like flip it over and be like, BOGO socks, you know what I mean? Go to Adidas or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care about that. Like, so I to me, it's just like trash.
So let me give you some stats. I agree. And who really is into fortune cookies, right? Like, even if you're like into like woo-woo, like astrology or something, like you're still not into fortune cookies, right? Like everybody knows it's just printed off, right? Like, but here's some stats. So Gary Vee ran a campaign using this company, okay? And he has an NFT called VeeFriends, which he's made a lot of money with that NFT, right? That gets you access to his conferences and blah, blah, blah. This is what it says. A more recent campaign came with VeeFriends, Vaynerchuk's NFT project, in which diners could scan a QR code on the back of the fortune cookie slips to learn more about the collection. The campaign garnered more than 143,000 QR scans and over 122.5 million social impressions. The reach and social engagement also convinced Vaynerchuk to invest in the company OpenFortune. So, and then I'm looking at a picture of it, and the picture of it is basically like two pieces within the fortune cookie. There's like the fortune, and then there's like a little like other piece of paper that's green that has like one of his VeeFriends, animations on it with the QR code.
When I said like I would want to see the format of how it was done, this is what I'm talking about. And so it makes more sense to me now. I think the QR code is actually smart. And then I think the other piece of it is thinking about the demographic of people who are actually going to care about like opening up a fortune cookie. And to me, it's like all the like kids who like just got their phone. To me, like if you think about it, like all the kids who just got their phone, they're opening the fortune cookie, they see the QR code, and they're, like what did you get? What's on yours or whatever, right? I see that like as like, a bunch of kids doing that. Do I see that as like a bunch of like 40 and 50-year-old people scanning like their fortune cookie stuff? Like, I don't know, in my opinion, not yet. But like, yeah, like that's my outlook. But like, for instance, like, for example, like if you're Logan Paul, again, let's bring him up, and you're doing the whole like Prime drink thing, like how he has this whole like Prime line of drinks. Yeah. Like you put that on like a QR code for a fortune cookie, that would crush, I think. Yeah. Because it's that demographic, right? It's like it's like a bunch of like 12 to 13-year-olds who just got their phones and they're like, Mom, can I buy this Prime drink on here or whatever, right? Like that.
Dude, it's like the cereal box like scanner free toy things, right? Like do you remember there was a toy for a time called Scanners? I just looked it up because I forgot about it, but the whole premise was you would scan a QR code with this like toy thing, and there was a monster living in the QR code, and it was basically like Pokemon.
Yeah,
you'd go in the grocery store scanning QR codes.
Scanning everything. I remember that.
Right? Yeah, so it's like that, but like an ad in a fortune cookie, and they're touting like this is the first change to fortune cookie experience in over a century. It's like, yeah, there's a reason why we didn't need to innovate this process. It's a gimmick, bro. Like,
and also like fortune cookies aren't actually a Chinese thing. They were, like, it's all invented in America, right? Yeah. It's not actually something that originated in China. So of course it would be the natural progression in America to
put an ad on
this. Exactly. To have this thing that's being Trojan horsed as culture. And then to put an ad in it,
So here's my thing on Gary Vee here, because I think we all agree this is like super gimmicky and weird. But if you say enough things in a day, you're bound to be right a couple of times. Mm-hmm. And I think that's how Gary like just lives. Like he basically just goes out in 100% conviction, says a bunch of stuff. And then like he's right like 20% of the time, and those are the times that we all go back and like, but see, he was right. It's like, yeah, he was also wrong 8 other times, right? but like a good example of this is TikTok, right? Like when it was Musical.ly, which is what it was before TikTok, I remember Gary Vee being so all about it. Like he was like, this will be the next thing. I promise you, like this is it. This is the thing. Get on it now. And the people that listened blew up, right? But like fortune cookie ads, not the next big thing. Not the next big thing.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
So,
I mean, it depends if it's just going to be like, your average mom and pop kind of Chinese restaurant, or if it's like Panda Express. Panda Express takes it, then, you could see some big stuff. I was looking at a couple of examples of some ads, and there's like, get your next meal free by downloading like a particular debit card to pay it with, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. So that is a good point, Matthew. If restaurants themselves started using it for their own like coupons or something like that, I could see that being a little bit more successful, right? Like after the meal, you open up the fortune cookie, you get a free meal next time or whatever, and it's like a 1 in 100 chance.
Oh, that would be huge. Yeah,
that would be a really good way to use that.
Yeah,
right. Or it sort of leans into the gimmick, and it takes away some of the cynicism. Because I'm also looking at ones where it's like, there's people that are opening their fortune cookies, and there's an ad for the Northern Arizona University. So it's like
that's the trash I'm talking about. That's where you literally like you like half look at it and you just crumble it up and you throw it in the trash.
Right. Exactly. That's not how to do it.
Yeah. Exactly. So
yeah, we don't need ads everywhere.
We don't. But here, okay, so there's a transition here though, because you mentioned something that I feel like could lead us into the next story or discussion point. So you talked about what was it, scanners, where you could run around the grocery store as a kid and you're
scanners with a Z. Yeah.
Okay, scanners with a Z. So to me, what could be cool is like the next evolution of that would be making an AR version of that, where like kids run around the grocery store and scan it, but there's like monsters in the grocery store, and like they could kind of like, that could actually be cool. And then you can have ad stuff on there. So, but the reason I'm transitioning into that is because it's a little reminiscent of Pokemon Go. And Pokemon Go is in the news recently because Circle K has decided to do an advertising campaign there. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about like, what does that look like to be? So
Pokemon Go still has a lot of players. The number is actually quite astounding. It's in the millions. I got to find it here. 79 million monthly players of Pokemon Go.
79 million?
79 million monthly players in June of 2023. So
you would have thought it would have died, but it didn't.
What?
A lot of people. And now there's a lot of players still, but their revenue is down. And if you guys have ever played Pokemon Go, like, 2016 when it came out, right? Like what would happen is you would run out of an item and then you would be like, well, I still want to play. So you'd buy more of that item, right? It was all microtransactions, buying more Pokeballs or eggs or incubators or whatever they were. Now, that number is decreasing. So the player base is still somewhat strong, but for whatever reason, their revenue is down a little bit. So what do you do as a company when your revenue is down? You figure out a way to bring in advertisers, right? Like look at Twitter, look at, any of these platforms. Ads are what makes the internet go round, right? Like you have to have them, or you have to charge for your service. Pokemon Go is a free app. So they're like, well, we need ads, but we don't want it to be like pop-up ads that are super annoying. So what are we going to do? Right. So enter what you're talking about, Caleb, right? So basically the news story is that Circle K is running augmented reality ads in Pokemon Go. So yeah, tell us more about this, Matthew. What are we seeing here?
So basically it's like a on-map experience where there's a big coffee cup that show up where, normally the Pokemon or raids, I think they're called. I haven't played this since 2016, which we talked about the other day. So I'm trying to remember the lingo as we go.
I think you're right. I think it's a raid and you all like fight the thing together.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically they've got to like catch coffee beans in the cup as they go rather than like catch a Pokemon. And if they get enough beans, they get linked to their nearest Circle K where they can go and get that cup of coffee
for free, allegedly.
For free,
right? Yeah,
allegedly.
It's honestly pretty smart. Like if you already have people walking around just aimlessly like adventuring, why not have them aimlessly adventure into your store?
but here's the thing, like the campaign, which they've like already had going for like a week or something, whatever it is, they've seen an average engagement of 76% and an average completion rate of 95%.
95?
So wait,
90? That's ridiculous.
So I'm hearing this basically as 76% of the people that saw it like engaged with it, right, on their screen. So that's huge. You can basically call that the click-through rate, right? Which like on paid ads you see like 1%.
Yeah.
So 76 times better than a paid ad so far on like Meta, right?
Yeah.
And then of the people that clicked it or engaged with it, 95% of them went on to actually do it. So I assume because they had to actually go to a Circle K, they probably ran this like only in select locations around Circle Ks, right? Like they're not like making you drive 10 miles to get to your Circle K or whatever. They're probably only showing this to people right around Circle K. But
can you imagine? You're like, I won this free cup of coffee and I will get it.
I'm going to spend $30 in gas money to get my free $1 cup of coffee at Circle K.
Some poor kid in like the middle of nowhere, Nebraska is like, where's my nearest Circle K?
Right?
It breaks their heart.
But this is like the first time I've really heard of a really, I guess like a really integrated augmented reality ad campaign. And there's a piece of me that's like, okay, but like a giant coffee cup in a Pokemon game, like what's next? They're going to put like a a giant like I don't know, like mechanics wrench, and we have to go to the local mechanic to get a free oil change or something. You know, like I don't want it to feel like, I don't want games and stuff to start feeling like not themselves because of advertisers doing stuff like this. That's my first fear. But on the other side of things, it looks really cool that it worked.
Yeah, and I think that, like, you know, what'll keep happening is we'll keep going down the trend that you see like all of the streaming platforms do now, where it's like there's a free version with ads, and then there's a paid version to remove the ads, right? So like if they were to implement this and it was working, then if I'm Pokemon Go, I'd be like, pay $10 a month for Platinum Pokemon Go, no ads or whatever, right? And like, you know what I mean? And so now you've got a subscription, but I don't know. In my opinion, like, you know, that's the way that things are gonna have to go, because like businesses need money to run, and that includes games. And so like you either have to run the ads or you're gonna have to pay for the game, you know.
So. Well, so and it says basically what they're calling it is rewarded AR ads. That's the product that they're calling it, Niantic. And Niantic is, you know, they made Pokemon Go. They have some other AR games as well, mobile focused. And AR is definitely going to increasingly be like the thing, right? We saw Apple Vision Pro, right? Like that's going to be AR. So I think it's a good move to start piloting this stuff now. And what they're saying basically that it's supposed to do for advertisers, which is different from the type of ad that they usually run, is basically that it's supposed to boost brand impact, number one, right? That's obvious, especially if there's a giant Circle K coffee cup in the game, right? Like that's you're seeing it. Drive foot traffic in stores. So like get people to actually like go to your store. And this is the perfect way to do that. The problem here is that like you're going to have a bunch of like Pokemon Go nerds coming to your store. So it should be something that they want. I mean, I'm sorry, but like if you're running a Lululemon ad and you got the Pokemon Go people like trying to beat the giant yoga pants up or whatever, like it's not a good brand fit, right? So there's that limitation. But my thing, Caleb, back to your point about like the energy drink, like the Paul energy drink, what is it called? I don't remember.
Logan Paul has Prime. It's like his version of like a healthy Gatorade, basically.
So think of it like that though too, because like Fortnite has done this really well, where they have like monetized skins and collectibles in a way that like kids go crazy for. So like you can buy the Mr. Beast skin as an example, right? People pay money for that. This could be similar, where like if you're a Pokemon Go player and you want your little dude to look like, you know, Jake Paul or whatever, like now you do the ad in there, he's making money on it, his clout is going up, and now also you have a collectible from it. So like I feel like there's a play there where like and that also, not to get way too in the weeds, but that also plays into like NFTs and stuff too, where it's like these collectible digital assets that potentially can go hand in hand with campaigns of this kind.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think about like the influencer angle of like pay to like have your avatar like look like me kind of a thing. It's kind of a cool. Yeah.
It could be really cool. I mean,
I want to push back a little bit on your characterization of those people. I feel like Lululemon would be a very good fit because they're all running around trying to catch like Jigglypuffs and stuff. They need activewear to do that.
I think in my head, I'm like mixing Redditor with Pokemon Go player. And like, I'm thinking like fedoras and neckbeards. I don't know.
Diagram.
Yeah. We need to map it out. But all I'm saying, fine, we'll change it. How about Ferrari dealership? Okay. You might not want to advertise your Ferrari to the Pokemon Go audience. I don't know. It doesn't seem like the right market fit, right? Like you got security at the front of the store. You probably don't want people throwing Pokeballs into the window.
You win a free test drive.
Yeah. Right. So there's still like the audience targeting piece is difficult here, right? It's much more a brand awareness play in my mind at this point, but pretty cool.
Of the players that have used it, 80% indicated they thought the ad product was a good idea.
It's really cool.
It's a great idea. It really is.
Yeah. I think it speaks to like, I think that people want ads that feel like it flows with their experience. And so like, even if that's a cup of coffee, it might not be like Pokemon like, but it feels like it's like a part of their game. And I think that's
dude, cool. Exactly. And that's what I was just going to say is like, there has to be a gatekeeper here that's like internally at Niantic, there's like the ad guy who like talks to all of these partners and says like, here's what you can and cannot do. You know, it's like very much personalized handheld experience, because like they're not going to roll out an ad that won't feel right in the game. And once they do that, if they do roll out an ad that doesn't feel right in the game, that's where it breaks, right? Yep. And then you lose users quickly, because it's like, well, I don't want to play this game anymore if it's just feels like ads are being like forced on me, you know, as an example.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
for sure.
Pretty good one. What else we got today? Matthew, any other topics we want to hit on in the world of advertising?
So in the world of advertising, let's see here. So there was a really interesting poll that took place in the UK. Again, shout out to my homies back in the homeland, where 1 in 3 people want personalized ads. But of those polled, only 6% are willing to share data, which is really interesting. I just don't think there's like a understanding on a base societal level of how ads work. So maybe if you want to like dive into that, that would be interesting.
Yeah, you know what I think the problem is? They don't have cake in the UK, so they don't know that you can't have your cake and eat it too. Because they're talking about Sponge, and it's like, guys, that's the problem here, right? You can't have your sponge and eat it too. That doesn't make sense. So the problem is cake. It comes back to cake. Like they just don't know that you can't have it both ways, you know.
Matthew, I didn't know that they didn't have cake where you're from.
Wait, we do. What do you mean?
No, you have Sponge. Dude.
You don't have any cake.
Great British Bake Off.
We have Sponge.
What did you eat on all of your birthdays?
We had a really nice Genoese with a hazelnut dacquoise.
No, just biscuits, dude. That's all they have.
Just
they want to fool you.
Oh, they have tea. They have plenty of tea.
No. But to my point, you can't have your cake and eat it too. What I mean is, like they don't want to share their data, but they also want like personalized ads. Okay, you can't have both. You know, you can't do it both ways, and that's. I think primarily this would probably be a worldwide thing. Maybe more Americans would say that they are okay sharing data. I doubt it. What I think most people, to your point, Matthew, is they don't get how it works, and they don't understand that the ads that they are seeing that they're using to purchase products that they end up enjoying are personalized using their data. Like, I don't think that clicks in people's heads, right? Like they make jokes where they're like, oh, I feel like I'm being followed around by this advertiser, or man, my phone is listening to me and it knows exactly what I want. Yes and no. Like ultimately it's the algorithm that knows your personal browsing habits on social media, and advertisers can basically tell it what to put in front of you, and it does the rest of the work. If you turn that off, all of your ads are going to be very generic feeling, and you're going to have a less enjoyable time on the platform. That's my synopsis. Like, sure, data collection, kind of sketchy. I get that. But like, if you're seeing ads that aren't for you and feel weird, that's almost worse, in my opinion, than like a personalized ad experience. Like, and I know I'm an advertiser, so I'm biased, but what do you guys think about that?
I agree, dude. I think, it's at the end of the day, it just comes down to, like you said, people not understanding, right? It's, hey, you know, if you want an ad experience that feels like it's custom to you, you're going to have to tell them a little bit about you, you know, for it to work. But I don't think people they see that. And I think with like big moves like Apple's been making in terms of privacy, that's just what everyone wants to go down first, right? It's just, no, I want my privacy. I don't want anyone to know anything about me. But they don't realize that in turn, what they're doing is they're just making the advertising experience for them, like you said, generic and basically completely the opposite of personal, right? They're just going to show you whatever ads are like there to be shown, right? It has nothing to do with you. So if you could get an ad for a fridge, even though you just bought a fridge.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like when you watch TV, you know, and you're watching like whatever show it is, and every other commercial is for a medical drug that you don't know what it does, nor do you have any need for it. And it's like, if you have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, and you're like, I don't know what plaque psoriasis is, I don't have it, I'm not going to go to my doctor and ask for AstraZeneca or whatever it is. Like, I don't, you know, none of this is relevant to me. And you start to see the commercial 100 times.
That was very specific, Dakota. Did you just see one of those ads?
I hate medical ads, because to me, like, first off, don't tell your doctor what medication you want. That's what your doctor is supposed to do for you. So don't watch a commercial and then be like, hey, doc, listen, you got to put me on this one because I saw a commercial and it
the people in that commercial look super happy.
Like, bro, so that's my first concern, right? Second concern, I guarantee you they're just running these ads for brand awareness so that like they are, you know, a reputable company and they're doing the write-off advertising thing. So it's not really even for you. But yet they stuff the commercials of these shows. Jeopardy, for example, you know, older people watch it. They stuff these commercials full of just medical ads. And I'm like, you're just confusing people, especially older people who like have a lot of issues medically. You're confusing them. So yes, I hate medical ads. I am not a fan of big pharma. Sorry to my friends who work in big pharma, but your ads are terrible, and like you're doing more damage than good, in my opinion. Now, the reason I bring it up is because personalized ads on your phone, you're not getting those because we know that you're not looking for that. You're not Googling medication or whatever for that thing, right? And so the personalization feels better than like this weird broad like stuff that doesn't relate to you.
It's a good example. Good stuff.
We don't have those ads in the UK, by the way. So the first time I saw them,
because they should be illegal.
They should be illegal. And it's also what always strikes me about them, I know this is a bit of a tangent, is that, you know, going back to your idea of like the plaque psoriasis one, every single like side effect they list is much worse.
That's kind of the running joke. Like I feel like
it's ridiculous.
It's like you when, and it's so long too. Like half the commercial is just them talking about the side effects.
Right. It's like
to the point where we don't even listen to that part anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Because we've heard it so many times.
So it's like, oh, it's a real shame that Pete died from internal like organ failure, but his skin looks great.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's bad, dude. But Matthew, that stat that you shared is really striking. 6% said that they don't want to be tracked, but a third, 33%, said they want personalized ads. So for the general public out there listening, ad tracking is not as bad as you think. Listen, everybody already knows everything about you. The government already knows, dude. Like, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but like nothing is safe.
Oh my gosh.
Have you put your social security card in, into an application before? Okay, then, you know, all of our stuff's already out there. Worst thing that could happen is that you get served an ad for something you might actually like, you know, then I think we're doing pretty good here. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh man.
Good stuff.
All right. Was there any other topics? I think there was one or two other things that I thought were interesting. This last one I'll bring up here. Caleb, tell me what you think about this. I think it's way overdue. Okay. Which is that YouTube is finally testing the first stages of thumbnail A/B testing. Okay, so up to this point, YouTube thumbnails have been so rudimentary. You basically just like upload your video and throw a thumbnail on there, and that's it. Like you just kind of wait and see. And the only way you can test to see if it's working is by like comparing it to the last type of thumbnail you did on a whole different video about a whole different topic. Now they're finally starting to roll out thumbnail A/B testing, where you can actually put like variation A, variation B, run it for a certain amount of time and see which one wins, and then make that one the winner. Really awesome feature. Very surprised it took this long to implement.
Yeah, I'm curious why it took them so long. You know what I mean? I feel like they can't have just thought of this. You know what I mean? And also people have been asking for it for a long time. So I'm curious like what has held them up from doing it. But I think it's great. Honestly, I think it's going to be really, really like helpful for all creators on YouTube. So yeah,
absolutely. So they're just beta testing it right now with a few thousand creators, and then I think it's supposed to roll out next year. Seems like quite the slow rollout, but yeah, I think it's going to be a great
something that's so
a lot of people.
You know what I mean? It's like so basic.
Oh, this is also YouTube that don't allow you to put thumbnails on YouTube Shorts still, so they're a little behind. So
the only other thing I was going to say about the thumbnails is I feel like, which this is not a big deal, I feel like, but when it's in the testing phase, I feel like knowing, like I've used YouTube forever, and when I go to like click a video, if I want to go back to the video, I go look for that thumbnail. And I feel like it might be annoying if I was shown like a different thumbnail when researching it. So I'm hoping that like if you've already watched a video or whatever, it would just stick with that thumbnail like for the.
That's a really good point.
Because I feel like that would be annoying. But like you said, once the winner's been declared, it's going to just be static from then on. But I would be annoyed if I like tried to find something and I couldn't because they changed the thumbnail on me. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But,
yeah, they would have to keep it the same for your first unique view or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I've always find it weird that you could actually change a YouTube video thumbnail like at any time, and it doesn't really like re-upload it or anything. You can just go into like your Creator Studio and just change the thumbnail. So that's kind of odd that they allow that and even at all, and then like that they don't have A/B testing to go with it. You know,
that's interesting. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
What's the last thing?
Last thing, and it's not really a discussion point. I just wanted to make a pun about it. It was recently the Cannes Festival in France, and for some reason, will.i.am of Black Eyed Peas fame was asked about his opinions on AI, and he said that the world would be unrecognizable in 10 years. So I want to hear your thoughts on that, but also I just wanted to say his new version of himself will be called Will AI. Oh, dang it.
So close. So close.
Will AI?
His new name will be Will AI.am.
Man, it was so close, dude. You know, we all miss sometimes. You know, don't take it hard.
It was right there. It was right there, Matthew.
That's good. I'll be able to edit this so it sounds seamless. So don't you worry.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Dude, so I've learned one thing in life. If will.i.am says something, you listen. No, I'm just playing. I don't know why we're asking people like will.i.am his thoughts on AI. But hey, dude, like if he thinks that, sure, I'm with it. It's probably going to be different. It's always a safe bet to predict that things will look different in 10 years.
I mean, think about 10 years like ago, right? Like I feel like we're like the world is very different than it was 10 years ago, and I think with the introduction of AI, it's just going to like speed that curve up. So yeah, it's going to be completely different in 10 years, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad. It's just going to be different.
Great job, will.i.am.
Great job.
will.i.am.
will.i.am.
Hey, will.i.am. Dude, it'll be the black-eyed AIs. The black-eyed...
Black AI.
The black AIs.
Tell you what, if AI ever comes after humanity, dude, they will be the black-eyed AIs. I'll make sure of it.
Okay, all right. That's enough. We are done.
We can wrap.
And Zuckerberg will too, dude.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Bringing it full circle.
Elon's going to be the black-eyed Elon, dude. Black-eyed AI Elon.
Zuckerberg's going to bring that boom, boom, pow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude, he sure is. He sure is. He's going to be all, let's get it started in here. And the bass keeps running and running and running and running and running and running and running. Like, could AI have written that? Tell me that. So,
yeah, definitely not. They would write something much better.
Probably. All right, fair. Well, AI couldn't have sang the national anthem nearly as good as Fergie did, right?
And the rockets red flare, the bombs bursting in it.
No.
Yeah, dude. Tell me, you show me one AI that can do that. And,
the Black Eyed Peas are the peak of human existence.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. All right. On that note, this has been Ad Talk by Ad Class, episode 10. We love you all. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for following along. If you are on YouTube, do us a favor, push subscribe, like, comment below, put some topics that you want us to talk about next time on Ad Talk. If you are an advertiser or you want to be an advertiser, check out our free Facebook group. It is facebook.com/groups/free-ad-class. We'll help you get started. We'll help you get into the wild world of advertising, where we have a lot of fun, make a lot of money, and ultimately get to play on the computer all day long. So, I mean, what's not to love? Cool. Appreciate you all. Signing off. Talk to you next time.
See you guys. Peace.